Absolutely not.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Anyway,
welcome
we're back.
I'm Brittany.
And I'm Zuleyma.
And this is our podcast, 2 Cents Later. We're so excited to be back with you guys this week. I was scared that this episode wasn't even going to happen. I'm not even going to lie to you. I was like, oh my God.
I wasn't about to do that to you.
My friend is all the way in Jamaica.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's going to make it back.
I was gone for 4 days. I got here last night so freaking late.
Is the time zone like messing with you?
No, it was actually, so here, I think it's a 2-hour difference from like, yeah, it was only a 2-hour difference. It wasn't that much, it wasn't that bad.
Okay,
it wasn't that bad. So
worst.
like, I'm not like jet lagged or anything. It wasn't that much of a difference for me to feel like, but the journey, I feel like I was on a quest to get back to LA because there's no connecting flights from West Coast.
There's no straight flights. You mean that?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, there's no straight, like, there's no direct flights from the West Coast to Jamaica. So both ways, I had connecting flights. The way there was quick. The way back, I felt like I was on a quest. I was on a journey.
But also, like, you came during that like time difference. So like the hour went forward, and it's like it was mad dark at like 5 o'clock.
It was.
I was out yesterday doing like my little Instacart stuff, and what I mean that like for some reason, like I had plans on like, cause there's a lot of little random spots I'll see in LA, like the Paul Smith wall, that I'll be like, oh, let me go over there and just pop out and record a video real quick. So that was my plan yesterday, but it got dark so early, and I don't know why I thought it was the other way, that it was gonna be
darker later.
Yeah, but no, we're in that like 4 o'clock depression. And I think being out here sometimes I mix it up.
Yeah.
Like, thinking like because it's always sunny here, it's gonna be always sunny all day, but no, it was definitely dark at 5.
I hate when it gets dark because I can't see anything like that. So now that it gets dark earlier,
you're inside early.
5 o'clock, I gotta go home. I can't really see that well.
Really?
Even with my glasses on, like it just messes with me. I can't.
You ever drive west on like going west in LA when the sun is going down? It is the most blinding thing in the world.
I thought you were gonna say it's beautiful.
It's beautiful, but it's
blinding.
It's super blinding. Yeah. Like you cannot see anything. Yeah. I've never been somewhere where you feel like I actually have to wear sunglasses,
or you might actually hit somebody.
Seriously, that's actually what's happened to me. I got close to hitting someone before because this lady was like super pale, bleached hair, had on like the faintest shade of green.
So she blended with the sun.
Exactly. And I was like, okay, so do you think that this is actually safe for you wearing right now?
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that people have to have like daytime reflector wear.
I hate when people wear black clothes at night and they jaywalk.
Like
you ask them to be hit.
And then driving like along traffic. Like your back, it's just the most ridiculous.
Yeah.
But let's get into our 2-cent topics for the week.
Let's do it.
What is my 2-cent topic? I actually really didn't even wholly think about that. Wow, that's kind of crazy. Let me think real quick.
1, 2, 3. What comes up?
What comes up? Honestly, what comes up for me is how much TV is on right now. Okay. Like, I feel like y'all are setting us up to be in the house
by 5 o'clock.
By 5 o'clock. It's like, okay, so just in case you wanted to be home, this is the time to do it.
I didn't even think about that.
No, it's so much television. Like, I feel like this is the setup. This is the setup for being fat. This is the setup for being lazy. This is the setup for just being in the house. Like, the perfect setup from Grey's Anatomy, 911, BMF, Insecure. What else? You came back out. I was watching the Colin Kapernick thing. The zillions of podcasts and all the good interviews are coming out because it's like the 4th quarter music-wise, and people are all putting out like their last albums. Kanye West, Summer Walker, Drake, all putting out. So it's just like
sit down at the house.
It's like, whoa, like it almost brings me back to your topic last week where it's like taking a break. I almost feel like I had to take a TV break for a second because I feel like I was so like, okay, trying to keep up with everything that's going on. Like I can't, how am I watching 9 million shows right now? Like I'm watching Queens, I'm watching Real Housewives of Potomac. That reunion came out, and I want to do a segment. Ladies, let me know if y'all want like a Real Housewives review segment because I can go in on some of the shows. And because she actually helped one of the housewives.
Oh really?
Yeah. And it's just so many shows. The list goes on when it comes to television. Insecure, like you said, I'm watching that. I binge watched the Colin Kaepernick thing. I want to get into that. Yeah, so maybe that could be a part of my 2 cents. It is a series. It was a 6-part series.
Okay, I thought it was like an hour documentary kind of thing. I didn't even.
No, it was 6 parts, 6 episodes. It's 30 minutes each episode.
Okay.
And it was really good. That's definitely a part of my 2 cents as well. Go watch that Colin Kaepernick thing because it really gave me a lot of in-depth on how he grew up, the things, why he mentally is the way that he is, the struggles he faced being raised by 2 white parents that adopted him. And even in that, their original plan for adoption was a white baby, and he was the second option. So his whole thing that really like stuck with me, that made me feel really bad, was him saying like, I was never anybody's first choice, but I'm the right choice. And learning that and having that, especially as a child who was adopted or not knowing your real parents or even why your parent gave you up, that is just applaudable for him to come to those terms. To be like, you know what? I may have not been what you wanted in the beginning, but I'll show you I'm exactly what you need.
Right, because he could have went the whole opposite way.
You get what I'm saying? And it's because a lot of people, I feel, take situations like that and they lean into the victim aspect of it.
Right.
You can easily play a victim. You can easily say, well, I'm going to be this way because my life was this or my life was that. But it's so much more commendable when you see somebody saying like, you know what, because of that, I don't want that for myself. I'm going to show you something different. Even down to like, these are little spoilers, but you can imagine these things going on anyway. But like when he first got his hair braided, like your parents, the people who are supposed to love you, are calling you a thug or saying you look like a thug and all these things like that. And I just couldn't imagine that dynamic. And I just feel like, especially if you're going to be in an interracial relationship with a Black person, or if you're going to adopt Black children, you need to do your research.
Absolutely.
You need to make sure your heart is in the right place. You need to do a lot of deep programming and in certain microaggressions, certain ignorant thoughts, certain and ignorance doesn't mean stupid. It just means sometimes a lack of knowing.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just
something.
So it's just like all of those things really need to be put in order before you involve yourself in the raising of a Black child. So if you have the time, go watch that Colin Kaepernick. It's called Colin Black and White.
Okay.
And it was done. It was quick. It was sweet, and I really enjoyed.
Have a different level of respect.
Way different level of respect for what he's doing, his message, and really hope that documentaries like this open eyes to those who need to see something a little bit different. You know?
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna watch it because it seems really interesting. Because he kind of
super interesting.
We only know him for what he's done in his like previous years, right? And the media has portrayed him a certain way when you don't really know what he went through to get to that point.
Exactly.
So,
and that definitely shows you all of that. Like them getting this boy Afro cut as super cuts. You know the super cuts are freaking terrible.
Yeah.
It was just so like I can't even imagine. And then there was this when you see there's this part where he's picking dates for different dances at school, and then you go see his parents' reaction to the dates that he picks and things like that. It's just watch it. It's just like, oh my God, like I cannot imagine. Like I literally could not imagine growing up like that. Like it was so heartbreaking. Like wow, like and on top of that, it's not even so much of you like just being a, like say you have your black family, but y'all like are the only black family in a white neighborhood.
Yeah.
This is more like I'm the only black kid and my parents are white. So like I'm not only an outsider when I go outside, I'm an outsider when I'm home as well. So it's just kind of like, God damn, like what do you really do? You know?
Yeah.
So, but he did it. He said his message. He's put a message out there. Hopefully some people disagree. We know that, but at the same time, it was beautiful and commendable what he did. If you really look up the lyrics of the national anthem as a black person or any person of minority, you shouldn't want to stand up for that. Stand up and put your hand over your heart for that. No, I get it. I completely understand it. You know, so the airline and slaves and all this stuff. Go ahead. But what's your 2 cents?
So my 2 cents, just because I experienced traveling now outside of the country, because I've only been traveling like throughout the states, like California to Florida. There's no real mandates for traveling within the states.
Right.
So now I've experienced traveling outside of the country during these weird times, and they do not make it easy for you. Let me just get this straight though. At this point, it does not matter if you're vaccinated or not, right? They don't look at your vaccination card. They don't even ask you for a vaccination card.
Really?
You need to be tested
regardless
of your vaccination
status. It's not even about a vaccination status. It's more. They still
don't
just focusing.
care about your vaccination status. That doesn't play a part. And I'm speaking flying to Jamaica. I don't know what it's like anywhere else. I'm talking about flying to Jamaica.
Because certain other countries might have a little bit more strict, like somewhere like Canada might have a little bit more strict. But all these places that would depend on tourism, probably a little bit more lenient when it comes to that as well.
Right. But they just make it, it's not really difficult, it's just very freaking tedious. And they need to come up with a better system. Especially like in Jamaica, which I kind of get. It's a different country, they work a little bit slower, but there needs to be a better system. Like, so I had to be tested 3 days, 72 hours before flying my fly out date.
Well, just as well as those, I get that you can sign up and go to a place for a free vaccine, free COVID test, but they should be giving those free COVID tests out as well, like at home one. Like
so I didn't find out. So
they have at home ones, but you have to pay for them.
Right, you do have to pay for them. I'm not sure if flying into the country you could do an at-home one. I'm not 100% sure, but I did meet somebody that was in Jamaica who brought a self kit to Jamaica to test himself out there, and it was like connected to an app and everything, and they had to like finger read and all this to identify that it's actually him, and then they got all the documents through an app. And I'm like, yo, I didn't even know I could do that, because in Jamaica I had to sit in a hotel lobby and wait for over an hour for them to see me, because there was only one person at each station, which made it like tedious. And that's what I mean, like the process just needs to be a little bit better.
But why that's super smart, you know, I personally believe that in the beginning of this, like a lot of those islands, I think that they were giving out false positives for a money grab. That's my 2 cents on that. Like now you have to stay and pay 14 days for you to be quarantined and all that other stuff.
Right.
A lot of those people didn't have any symptoms, but all of a sudden, like now you have to stay here and be blocked in this room. You're not paying for us to be blocked in this room. You're literally putting people in crappier hotels. It's not like they can stay in their room. You go somewhere off,
like a quarantine
site, like a lower rating hotel, and you have to stay there. No one's checking on you. No one's making sure you're having even water or anything like that. But you still have to pay as if you were staying on this trip for 2 weeks. And I think that was one of their hugest money grabs, because there was no way. Like I was talking to people who literally were out there like, I have no symptoms, but
that's crazy.
I'm quarantined for 10 days.
I was scared that would happen to one of us, but luckily it didn't happen to either of us.
Good.
And we had this conversation while we were waiting there. Like how long do you think this is gonna last, right? Like, is it 3 years? Is it 5 years? And one of the girls was like, this is gonna be for maybe forever. And she brought up a good point, because they're making so much money off of these COVID tests.
This is true.
They're making so, like pharmaceuticals and all, they're making so much money off of these COVID tests. So why would they? Why would they take it away? Regardless of vaccination status or any of that, they're making money off of it. And it like really depressed me because it was really a tedious and annoying process.
Just imagine just sitting there waiting, thinking like, oh my God, am I gonna accidentally test positive?
Am I gonna go home?
Because I've had, like, my family, I've had my mom take one COVID test to come back positive, one come back negative. One. You never, it all depends sometimes. Like, sometimes they're not accurate. So that is just the most, like, I'm not paying to be nowhere for 14 days. You better take me and my little canoe. I'm going home.
Yeah.
I'm going home.
It was definitely scary. We didn't get our results until we went to a boat party. And I think one of the girls was like, I don't have COVID. I'm like, wait, what? So I like checked my phone. We were all checking our phone, like, we didn't test positive. Like, we all had like a little celebration, like, yo, because we were there. We were like, yo, how many people do you think are gonna test positive in this hotel? And I'm like, well, let's shoot for 0.
Yeah,
like, let's shoot for that because
I don't want any of us to be a part of that number.
Right. So I don't really know if that's much of a 2 cents, but that's my 2 cents on traveling during these times.
It's super difficult.
Yeah. It does. It's just.
But let me tell you, there's parties out in LA that you have to be or events that you had to be tested for. Like you have to have a test for. I've been to several, or been invited to several parties that I have to get a COVID test for. That brunch to bomb thing I went to, I had to get a COVID test before I went.
Okay.
And recently on Halloween, I was supposed to go somewhere and get a COVID test.
Yeah.
But it's just annoying. Like, I'm not that invested. But now we see that so-called the mandate has been temporarily postponed or banned or whatever the case may be, which I think is actually somewhat fair because
I think it's absolutely
there's a lot that needs to be. Give people time to kind of just see what's happening, you know? I think it's fair.
There's too much information now. Like, okay, so they put these mandates, right? And now they're like, ooh, maybe we should hold off on the mandates. Why? Because we realize that certain things aren't actually working.
Right.
So why put a mandate on something that's not working? So it makes sense for them to put a stop on it and just do a little bit more research, give it more time.
And even so, in the sense of the effectiveness, it's not even the effectiveness for me. It's more of the fact that everything that someone who is unvaccinated has to do, someone who's vaccinated has to do the same exact thing.
Correct.
So it's just a little bit discouraging in the sense of like, what's really the end goal here? What are we really doing? How is this really actually helping anything? So it just becomes, and I just think it's unfair that people don't even have the right to, or seem not to have the right to even have a guessing thought. Like, you're supposed to just be like, you know what? Yeah, the science says, what the hell is the science? There's just science. There's just science. Like, there was never the science. Like, I don't know what the science is, because that's making me
You are the
that
science.
I'm science. Like, everything here is science. The way that my voice is enunciating and the vibrations that are coming, there's a science.
And everyone's science is different.
But that's what, but whatever the science y'all got, like, I don't know what exactly that means. And just, I think they're realizing that a lot of places are being affected business-wise for these mandates. 4.3 million Americans quit their job in August. Like, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, that is a lot of people. I don't know. I think it makes sense to put not necessarily, I wouldn't say put a stop, but like just put a pause to figure it all out.
A pause on the forcing aspect.
On the forcing aspect.
I think whether you want to get it or whether you don't, that's completely up to you.
Yeah.
And I have if you sat down and thought, you know what, due to my health, due to my family, due to my job, due to this person, due to that person, that this is the best thing for you to do, go do that.
But don't forcefully or don't judge the next person who did it.
Or don't dangle a carrot over people's head to take it. You get what I'm saying?
Like, you're the reason why it keeps spreading. You are too, though.
You know what I really don't like, and I want to say this, but I'm gonna say this. This is my 2 cents. I just don't like how Homeboy is like putting all these like, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. If you don't get the vaccine, you're not this. You're not it for the better of the people. If you don't do this, you're not that. And it's just like, yo, like, we could go on a list on all the things that you should be doing. Then you're not the president.
But he was also the same person that was like, no, we're not gonna get it. It's too early, and da 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 da. And as soon as he's elected, everybody, you get the shot. You get the shot.
That's honestly the whole Democratic Party, in my opinion, because everybody was going crazy for Cuomo, and he was definitely one that was on that bandwagon of it being too early and all this thing like that.
All of them were.
And I just think as minorities, we just need to do a little bit more of a better job in what we're voting for and what we're looking into, because at the same time, like, are we really that happy that this is who we voted for? Where's Kamala?
Where is she? I haven't seen her in a while.
Where's Kamala San Diego?
Like, she's she's gone. Let me put my 2 cents into this. Okay, so this whole freedom of choice, like, if you're freedom of choice all across the board. Right. You can't pick and choose what topic you want to have freedom in. Like,
or
if
my
you
body,
stand
my
body, my choice, my body, my choice goes all across the board.
100%.
All across the board. And not just one or the other. Like, if you're my body, my choice towards abortion, if you're all across the board.
Right.
You can't pick and choose. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
So there's my 2 cents on that.
I definitely agree. It can't be subjective. It can't be like, oh, but, and this whole, like, when has everybody been so the greater for the greater good or the betterment for everybody else? When have y'all been so like, oh, I'm doing my part?
Yeah, and when have you cared about people's immune systems?
Exactly.
Because
I've seen a lot of y'all coughing your hands and shaking
at work,
hand.
knowing that the person next to you has lupus.
And
you didn't call out of work.
Or like you're working in retail and you're like touching stuff and doing all of that. Like you're literally like coughing your hands, Sorry, I got distracted because this man is just like, you're just like touching everything, like after you're in your nose, in your eyes. You guys weren't thinking
You didn't care about people who were immune compromised, but now all of a sudden, now that there's
and when y'all was doing your nasty 2-second rules, eating stuff off the ground.
Exactly. You didn't hear that?
You didn't care?
You didn't care about your cousin who had an immune disorder or any of that.
Or just, and not even so much that, it's just like, just people you don't even know, like, oh, I'm doing, like, when did you put on, like, it's like, if you wanted the vaccine, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't care. That's good for you.
Right.
But to make it seem like you're a superhero because you got a vaccine, it's like crazy to me.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like, oh, I did my part. Like, good for you, Captain.
Like, and also a lot of people, again, with the whole like immunity thing, there's people who have immune compromise who cannot get the vaccine.
Exactly.
So then what?
I
know somebody who's literally allergic to so many ingredients that she cannot get the vaccine.
I was on Clubhouse talking to a lady. She had epilepsy. Like, she can't get the vaccine.
She can't get it.
There's a little, I think it was another Parkinson's. There was somebody with Parkinson's who couldn't get it. And it was just, there's a few things that people just aren't able. I think there was some forms of cancer.
You just can't get it. So what are you going to be like, oh, you're the reason why that we're spreading this and blah, blah, blah. Like, that's not even fair. Like, it's just not fair. Let people choose. If you can't get it, you can't get it.
It's just been so divisive in our country, honestly. It's honestly made things so, like, like, you don't even want to, like, talk about it. The moment somebody asks me if I'm vaccinated, I'm just like, why? It's so invasive. It's so, like, why is it your business? It's so, like, just worry about yourself.
Yeah.
If you have your mask, if you have your vaccine, what I do with my body is literally my choice.
Right.
And if you believe in the science, the whatever you're choosing to justify your decision, then what I do with myself, you should not be worried.
Yeah.
if it's doing everything that it's supposed to do, you should not be worried if I'm vaccinated.
There's also
I never get that concept.
There's also people who are regretting it because they were sold this idea that you're basically going to be immune to COVID, right? You're going to be immune to it. You're not going to catch it, or your symptoms are going to be less, or you're not going to die. But that has all gone out the window. There's deaths. People still got COVID. They died. Now you're having like side effects to it. We don't know the side effects 10 years from now.
But here's a catch-22 in that is that so when you're talking actual statistics and numbers on people who are dying from COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll say, but people are still dying, right? Like, well, people who are super gung-ho on vaccines.
Yeah.
They'll be like, well, people are still dying. No matter what the percentage, people are still dying.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the same on the flip. Like, people are still dying and having reactions from the vaccine as well. So that's why it's kind of like, that's why my argument is always just like, yo, whatever you decide to do, do you. Whatever side you, because it's different sides of the same coin. This is just heads or tails. Yeah. It's literally picking heads or tails. If you really think about it, it's picking heads or tails. So it's just like, whichever statistics you're more comfortable with going with, because if you look at it like more, okay, well, me personally, this has been 2 years by the grace of God. I haven't had this, and it's just like, well, if I'm going by those numbers and the statistics of the amount of people dying from this and how I live my life, I'm comfortable in my decision and what I decide to do. If you're looking at it like, you know what, people are still dying. I saw this person go, and I think the better decision is for me to get vaccinated, and this small percentage is fine with me, then go do that. Because it's literally the same. It's literally the same thing on both sides. I just think that people just need to stop allowing things in this country to divide us further.
Right, and that's the whole thing. Like, do what you do with your body.
Right.
Like, that's fine. But the separation, like, vaccinated can eat inside and then the unvaccinated can eat outside, or you get a bracelet because you're vaccinated, but you get a different bracelet because we need to let them know that you're unvaccinated.
Right.
Like, is
like
that not segregation?
The scarlet letter, literally.
Like, are you not dividing
literally
all of us?
You want us,
right?
It's almost like I almost feel like it's like, okay, well, racism is starting to they're not being separated by racism as much anymore. What is the new thing we can do to keep people divisive in this country? You get what I'm saying? Like, okay, so we just keep that both presidential options were completely a joke. What can we do to keep people divided? We can't do it via politics anymore because they realize that this is a freaking joke. We can't do it via racism anymore because people are starting to come together. Everybody's everything's accepted now. So what is the next thing? Oh, let's go into disease, mental health. And like I said to you last night, the real virus is the fear, the fear mongering. That's the real sickness.
And like you were saying, like, people are scared of getting COVID, right? And that same fear applies to people getting the vaccine.
It's literally fear mongering. It's on both sides. There's people who are terrified of what the vaccine might do to them. There's people who are terrified of what COVID might do to them. So it goes. That's what I'm saying. Same heads or tails. Which one are you picking? It's either way you're paying attention. You get what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's divisive. All of this is divisive. Racism is not working as much as it used to. Like, think about it. We're not seeing every day like as much stuff as we're seeing. Like before, it was like, let's keep shoving the police brutality in their faces. I don't see it as much. I don't see it as much as I did. It's probably, I know it's still out there. I think people you can't use that as a media tactic anymore. You can't use that as like a fear tactic for us anymore, or an emotional trigger anymore, because we've learned to kind of overcome that trigger a little bit better. But this is they took the cake with this one. I could say that when it comes to separating this country, this probably takes the cake up there with racism, black and white. Honestly, it really does.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're not saying don't do this, don't do that. We're saying
we literally did
we're
not say
saying
that. We
do
literally
you.
said a zillion times, do you?
Do you do what you
I'm
gotta do,
perfectly,
don't
I
judge
don't, I'm right, like, and I'm not judging you, like, I didn't
Right.
think that there's plenty of people that, I understand that if you work in a space where I have to get this because I need to live for the livelihood of my family, do that shit, do what you have to do.
Do what you have to do,
But if you also chose, like Kyrie Irving, who is choosing to, even walk away from some of that because he has that belief within himself, you have to applaud that as well. Like we said, it's all about free choice, free for my body, my choice.
You stick by it.
Stick by it.
You stick by it. That's what you believe in. You stick by what you believe in.
And I think you mandating workers and children to all put this in their bodies when nothing has been cemented or the numbers, the effectiveness is decreasing by the minute. Slow up on that. Slow up. Let's work on this a little bit better. We haven't even, no one's saying, the COVID numbers are increasing. I haven't heard nothing. Where are the numbers at now? You know what I'm saying? California's been in the yellow for months now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm so over it.
I want it to just be over. I feel like sometimes I'm like, I wish I'd just wake up one day and it was just like a really bad nightmare. And it's just we were just kidding.
All the time I always say that. I wish I woke up and it was just one big joke.
Big joke. Like, please. Because
I can't wait for the Netflix documentary on this and how we really, and some of us knew. And I was knowing.
I was knowing from the February 2020. I'm like, something's off. Something's a little off. But
no, let me tell you, story time. So after Christmas, my mom got really sick. She couldn't even.
Christmas 2019 or 2020?
2019. I remember my clients were all saying like their kids were getting really sick. I remember I was working at the gym, so I had the daycare. The daycare kids were getting really sick. Kalani after Christmas was sick as an adult, couldn't breathe. It was bad. Took her to the hospital. We were in there for 2 hours. Orange Regional, brand new hospital. We're sitting there. It's like 2 hours. But as soon as we get in there, and mind you, this is December. The first thing they start giving us is masks. And I've never been in a hospital where giving you masks when you're walking in. So when I mean the hospital was flooded. Me, I'm looking at all these sick people it looked crazy. Like something I've never seen before. Like literally out of movies where you're like, everybody hugged over. So we went all the way over to the birthing center. They're like, and mind you, I'm pregnant at the time.
Okay.
So we're at the birthing center side where it's empty. And so they're like, are you okay? I was like, no. I said, we're fine, but I just want to sit over here because it looked crazy over there. Whatever's going over, but I don't want to be a part of it. So the lady, we finally got in the room, and they're like, we're going to test her for the flu because that's what I thought it was. They did swab up her nose, but for the flu, and it came back negative. So she was still sick. You know me, I'm giving her everything natural, lavender this, and all these oils to kind of just calm her body down, and put in like then the vapor rub and and she has a nebulizer, so that helped her because she got sick as well. My mom was sick, all with the same symptoms. So I think that they all had COVID. They were all around. I just think that I'm somebody that either was asymptomatic or one of those people that, like, I've heard doctors say there's some people that just aren't going to catch it. Like, the way that their body is set up, they're just not going to catch it.
Right.
So this has been around even before then. Like, I saw it happening then, and it was just like, why are you guys getting a mask? Like, it was so strange. Like, they knew what was up.
Yeah, I had a coworker in February of 2020. I was working at the gym at the time, and he was the janitor there. And he got sick for like 2 weeks. And he thought it was the chemicals that he was working with that were giving him a cough and all of that. His wife was sick right before him, so he thought that he got it from her. And then he's like, no, it can't be. So they both went to the hospital. Neither of them had the flu.
No,
They had
yeah,
no
that's what I'm
answers
saying.
for
No
what they
answers.
had.
Same with Kalani.
This man lost so much weight. He couldn't breathe. Like, it was like the saddest thing.
I went into the gym spazzing out on, y'all need to do a better job letting, if these kids are coming in sick like that, don't have these, you're making other kids sick. Like, when I mean, I was so surprised. Mind you, I was in the gym, no mask on, teaching, fitness, training, all this stuff. So, you know me, I'm really like, I'm not gonna get sick. I'm not gonna get sick. And everybody has their own beliefs. That's what I believe for myself should never offend anybody else. I want to say that, one. I just personally felt like, wow, like I have been overly exposed to germs.
Same.
You get what I'm saying? I'm one of those, I'm in the dirt, I'm outside. And not to say like I'm like in here eating dirt, but I'm outside. Like I'm exposed to germs. So I just felt like, wow, like whatever I'm doing, whatever we're doing, let's tell you guys what we're doing.
Yeah. Just I'll go outside.
Go
and you know
outside.
what's also interesting? At that same job, my manager, he was very into like all this, like what is going on, like there has to be something bigger. The beginning of that year, he had bought like a disinfectant spray. And it said
on
there, COVID SARS-19 way before it was out. So he's like, look at
on
this.
the bottles when I was at Chloe, you would see it right on the, I wasn't at Chloe then. It was right on the bottles when I would see it. I seen it on the Lysol.
Yeah,
like the Lysol.
It was a Lysol. Yeah,
it was the Lysol. I've seen it on Lysol before it was even really announced.
Now I know that this whole SARS thing before anybody.
Right.
I know that's been a thing for years. Because
But
that's
they
how
didn't take it off the bottles after a while.
But this one said COVID SARS-19. It's very specific to what we're dealing with right now. So before anybody jumps down my road,
the science and voucher science.
Yeah.
Voucher. I hate that name. Voucher.
Where is Fauci? I haven't seen him in a while.
Fauci was on the bitches with Kamala shaking ass.
Like, where's Kamala and Fauci? I haven't heard about it.
They somewhere together shaking ass. I'm telling you. They said Kamala's getting a BBO.
Oh, I didn't see that. She's recovering from BBO.
She's in recovery. She got the 5 going right now. Kamala don't got time for y'all.
She can't sit for 3 months.
Oh wow, was that an election year, man? That was terrible. That was terrible.
It was.
But then even
mess. It was election. Okay, election, a pandemic, protests, like all in one. And the whole time I'm just like, no, this
that's
is
what you get what I'm saying, how they're trying to attack all three
like,
things that we were just talking about. You know what I'm saying?
I'm like, this is political. This is totally all political.
This is a joke. This is what it was. And it was so much pandering. There was so much pandering to the black community. And I just really think we need to vote smart. And if Dwayne Johnson, if you decide to run for president, I'm definitely voting for The Rock, because that would be the finest president we would ever have. I just need my president to be fine at this point. Bring back Barack.
Bring back Barack.
If y'all gonna be problematic, at least be fine. That's how I like my presidents. Fine. If you're gonna be fine, then problematic.
Right. That's what he did. He was fine. And it's like, oh, well, Barack did this when he was in office that affected this and affected that and affected this. Yeah, but he was fine. He gets an excuse.
He was fine though. That's the only thing that's saving Barack, because he did do a lot of bullshit himself too.
Yeah,
or lack thereof.
None of them are perfect.
Yeah, none of them are perfect. He literally, it was almost like Barack Obama was the presidential Black Panther for the community. Like, you know, like how we got a black superhero. He was like the political black superhero.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, let's give the. It's almost like let's give them something to aspire for. You know, like, because he really didn't. Honestly, he really didn't do much. You could disagree, or you could agree, or you could disagree.
Yeah. So
2 cents later.
2 cents later. Speaking of politics and heroes, what about this Ye interview?
That's my family Hulu.
That's my family Hulu.
That's my family Hulu.
Okay, so she had me listen to it. I wasn't gonna finish the whole thing, but
what did you get from it? I want to hear your opinion.
Okay, so the beginning of it, like the first maybe 30 minutes, I'm like, oh my god, he's saying a whole lot of nothing right now. Like, this is all over the place. There's a lot of nothing, right? name dropping what, like, he wants to live this like monk lifestyle, but throwing in that he makes $9 billion. I'm like, yo, this man is just like blah 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 blah. But at the end of the day, like towards the end, I'm just like, this man just wants his community to stick together and do good by his people. And if somebody fucks up, he's gonna call them out.
And and that's where I can relate to. Just because I call you out on something does not mean that I don't love you. That doesn't mean that I don't fuck with you. That means that I just don't fuck with what you did right now. That's simple.
And you should be fine.
That is that simple. And I even come from the school of, remember, I have nothing but brothers. I have nothing but brothers. I come from a school where you should be able to fight, whether that's verbally or physically, with someone that you love, and y'all should be able to fix that. You should be able to fix that. Sometimes it takes, you know what? You know how many times I seen men like, yo, we might just need to shoot a fair one real quick. We just need to shoot a fair one and get it out, and then we're good. You get what I'm saying? I'm a Taurus. I always say I'm going to the China shop. Once all the China's fucked up, I'll be there to help you clean it up. I'll be there, but I just need to get this out so you know that I can fuck shit up. Don't it's not even so much like, yo, literally, I cannot like what you do, but still love you. And we can still move forward from that. Just because you don't like what someone does in that moment doesn't mean that you don't fuck with them.
And that's exactly what I got from the interview. Like, he was giving everybody respect. What I like about him is that they ask him for his opinion, and he just, like, he doesn't give them a one-word response.
No.
He'll say, this is why, like, okay, I'm choosing this, but this is why. Which why he goes in, like, this whole rant, but then he brings it back. So, like, he never just says, I like this person. This is why I like this person. This is why I don't like this. This is why I don't like that. Like, I respected that so much of him, because it's like a lot of interviews, people are like, oh yeah, like this is what I feel about it, and then they don't really go in depth as to why they feel that way. He did not care about calling anybody out. One thing about Kanye is that he strives. He wants to be canceled.
No, but that's the whole thing. It's about liking you more than having everyone like you. It's about you. If I like myself enough, how you feel don't matter. That shit is just bonus, or it's not. It's always gonna be the add, but it's never subtracting from who I am. You get what I'm saying? And I think that's what I got a lot of. I did hear a lot of insecurity as well. There's always that human side of
and he says that to me.
I'm
jealous.
And I love that. I think one thing that I've been working on this year is just being extremely transparent about how I feel on things. I've been super proud of myself. If I don't like something, I'm gonna tell you. If I'm not happy with something, I'm gonna tell you, because it's just like, you know how much of a disservice you get no pleasure, no righteousness in making yourself uncomfortable to make everybody else comfortable. You don't get no brownie points for that.
Right. So did you get the same message that I did?
I got somebody who, like I said, is looking for the love and respect that he wants to give as well. He wants the reciprocation. He wants people to know that even though, I think he's the prime example of that whole Kardashian curse, and he knows that. I think he knows that he is under that, and that did a lot of damage, but I think that he loves his wife, he loves his family. I got a lot of that. I got somebody who is literally, I do believe that he is a man of God, the way that he says he is, because if you listen to him talk, a lot of times like, they don't hear me, like, or I think I'm trying to cancel, huh? You ever hear a pastor talk and be like, oh, y'all not listening to what I'm saying now, huh? Can't somebody hear me now? Can I get a witness? Like, it was almost like, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like that, can I get a witness? Like, it was him preaching. Like, if you were really listening, that man was preaching in the sense of just being able to, like, respect his visionary, respect yes, I've been hurt by people that I love, but those are still people that I love. And showing you that there's more beauty in forgiveness, but there's also beauty in recognizing who you are and then guiding yourself. And one thing that my father always taught me is that if you believe in God, you believe in yourself. There's no way that you can't believe in one or the other. You get what I'm saying? So the Ye that I love, I got from that interview.
Yeah.
I got so inspired from that interview. It just, and not even on some like creator kind of thing. It was more just as a person. I just got extremely inspired into continuing to move in the love that I'm moving. If that makes sense.
Right, and be yourself regardless.
Yeah, be
like
yourself.
He's just like, if I get canceled, I get canceled. Like it
right.
is. Like, at this
if I have
point,
my head
I'm
shaped
gonna
like a
say my truth.
psychopath, like if I have my head shaped like this, this is how. And he has a hard time saying how he wants to say things, but I got what he was saying.
Yeah,
when he was describing his haircut,
I totally understood.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
He had like. I think people think that he goes on these like rants and like really like sporadic moments, but he literally has a meaning to everything that he does, and
it's intentional and it's isolated.
Is intentional.
It was almost even him smoking a joint.
I didn't see the visuals though. I need to see the visuals.
Kanye smiling, like
you could tell.
Oh my God, just watching it, yo. Like
you could hear that he was smiling.
And I was so happy to see that version of Ye, yo. Like, it was almost like, damn good. Like, damn. Even him just sitting there with Noriega, like, and I was like, I knew that he recorded. He named his daughter after Nori. Yeah, like that was intentional. Like that all was intentional. It was so good. It was so good. I was like, I really hope she listens to this because.
Yeah, because I had my opinion, because I had watched
a lot of people say he's rambling, and a lot of people were like, oh, what is he even saying?
That's how it was in the beginning. I was like, I don't know if I could sit through this but I'm like, you know what? Let me give it a chance because I'm sure there's a meaning to this. So I did.
No, I wouldn't ask you to listen to 2.5 hours for no reason.
Yeah, but I was kind of losing my interest in Kanye for a while, and then after seeing the Donda release parties, I'm like, yo, what is this man doing? Like, I'm so confused. I don't understand.
No,
but then I realized
it was a story behind.
Right. Like him saying like I'm a man of process. So him showing his entire process of getting to that release party, not liking it, having another one, fixing it, not liking it, having another one, like that was his whole entire process where people do it behind closed doors. He did it so that everybody can see it and everyone's like, but he's just standing in the middle of an arena doing nothing. And
he's literally showing you the process of art.
Exactly. And it didn't click to me until I listened to it.
Even when he went in on about like how he confidently said, nah, Dame Dash. Like, if you watch Dame Dash and you watch Kanye West, you can literally him saying that he is the blend of Jay and Dame is the perfect explanation. The part that the music, the businessman is the Jay-Z part. Everything else, the creator aspect, his personality, that's all Dame. Watch a Dame Dash interview. Just watch one. And after you've seen that, all you gotta do is watch a 10-minute Dame Dash interview. And you'll see that's Kanye's son.
Yeah.
He breeded that. Like that's seriously how he talks and just Dame Dash is all about the betterment of Black people. Like, and it may come off as arrogant, it may come off as like just super aggressive, but that's Kanye too.
Did you see how he called out John Legend and like he had called him out like, yo, I don't like how the Democrat Party got a hold of them and putting out stuff like. And I understood that.
No,
I understood that.
Right. Listen, first of all, y'all putting up, girl, you look good, won't you backs that ass? Like, you want to dance with John, won't you backs that ass? Backs that ass up? Backs that ass up? Come on, Sway. How, Sway? Come on, I don't knock you for that.
You guys need to listen to it because he was calling people out.
And even in him wearing the Trump hat was, when I look at it, it's proving a point. It's not even, it was super, it does come off as corny. It does. However, I do understand how he's saying, I'm gonna wear this hat. We as Black people, y'all need to stop always going over there looking. I always say, once we stop thinking with our hearts and our votes with racism, and always trying to demolish racism, which is something that you can never truly eradicate.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that you can literally eradicate how somebody feels in their heart.
Yeah.
Once we get off of that and we start looking at these people to move, and our presidents to move in a more business-like manner, which America really is. And the whole goal is for us is to make money and be thriving as a country. Yes, there are other things like police brutality and all these things that can be managed a lot better. But when it comes to, this man hasn't done a damn thing. I don't care. That's my 2 cents. Him nor Kamala have done a damn thing.
Right.
Besides, with the exception of the Stop Asian Hate thing, which was, I can't. We'll be here for 3 hours, yo. I swear to you, we'll be here for 3 hours.
The one thing about Kanye, he's gonna call his people out.
He did.
He's like, basically like, I'm doing what everyone's scared to do. I wish I had the balls. I wish, but
right. He was like Michael B. Jordan,
like all of that. But they're scared because they're scared they're gonna lose, future work and blah blah blah. But
shoot, please look how they canceled the baby. Oh my God. Well, apparently the CEO of the LGBTQ community gave the baby permission to perform again.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good for him. Well, that's great.
Speaking of performance, let's get out of here real quick.
Yeah, really quickly. We have like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
let's do
this Travis Scott concert. Every 10 minutes I'm getting a new headline. Or this morning it said that they're actually giving the people their money back from the concert.
I saw that. Yeah,
a 14-year-old boy died from this concert. And his apology was basically Excedrin commercial. I have the worst headache in the world. That's what I got from it. Like, take 2 Excedrins and you'll be better.
I wanted him to speak out, right? That's not the speaking out that was needed.
A video never goes well. Remember Tyrese? What move do you want from me?
Yeah.
It never goes well.
But I don't know. I feel like I wanted more, like...
You should have had... Somebody could have wrote something perfectly for you.
Right. What I wanted was... Because everyone knows his fans. They're crazy, right? He needed to talk to his fans because that was caused by his own fans.
So
yes,
somebody was injecting people who made them go crazy.
Right.
And a lot of people were saying, why would that lady have her son there? Travis Scott fans are young.
Yeah. And you wouldn't really think that it would turn out the way it did.
Into some freaking American Horror. That was an American Horror Story.
Yeah. Did you see that video of the girl like stepping up and saying like shut down the show? There's somebody dead in there, and they're just like continue. I get it. The man's doing his job. He's getting paid to do it. But at the same time, at least call somebody, do something. Like, somebody's really crying on stage right now that somebody's dead in there. You're just like, but the show must go on. So then who gets sued? Is it Travis or is it the venue? Like the people who actually work there? Like who? Because they're saying it's going to be Travis and Drake.
That's what I'm saying. How does Travis get sued? Like, even though he's still... Okay. This might be I don't think he gets sued.
I don't think so either. So you remember that Ariana concert where there was a whole shooting?
Yeah.
She didn't get sued.
They're saying that he consciously saw people dying in the crowd and he should have stopped the show. Regardless if he stopped or not, that chaos was still going to go on.
But are you his eyes?
And that's what I'm saying. How you,
like, you don't know.
Validating what, and this is a concert with people, he probably has a fan base that is used to the mosh pitting.
Right, people like passing out all the time.
Crazy. And I don't really think that he's held accountable. I think the people who did a lackluster job of securing the venue and making sure that these things aren't happening, or the lack of, if that's there many people there should be it should just be handled way differently. Nobody should have been able to get in with no damn syringes. Nobody should have been able to, like, you get what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
I think the reason why people are like, oh, they should sue him is because his fans are kind of like a representation of who he is and what he's done in the past and what his concerts are all about. So he's fully responsible for what he's
should everybody
created.
Should everybody who listens to R. Kelly be on trial as well?
Right. It doesn't work that way, but I think that's why people are like, he should be.
Yo, like this is the most like tattletale. You know, like that kid in class. Like, it was her.
Yeah.
Ooh, she should get in trouble. Yo, everybody moves like that.
Yeah.
It's so annoying. Like, where you got? I can't even say like, where's your balls? Like, because the people are thinking like that. Like, oh, vaginas aren't strong. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Where's your vagina then?
Yeah.
Like, grow a set. Like, it's so annoying. Like, everybody's just looking to like cancel this person, do that. And I'm not saying that it was right for him to keep performing. Yes, you should have. If you saw what was happening, if you saw, but who am I to say that he actually saw what the hell was happening?
We don't know. We don't know. And yes, his message pissed me off. I feel like it should have been a
no.
little bit more sympathetic.
But when do you ever even hear Travis speak?
Yeah.
So imagine how uncomfortable that is for him. And one, Travis Scott is a Taurus, so I already know for sure that was already just like, oh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's like upset about the whole situation.
No,
and especially in like it's in his hometown, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure he's like dealing with guilt. That's not easy. Probably some sort of shock as well.
Yo, I don't know who out there trying to do these to our black celebrities, child, but when I meet every day another one is getting canceled for this or getting canceled for that, it's honestly exhausting. It's just almost like, yo, give people the grace of being human. Right. Or imagine if the cameras were on like this in the 90s or in the 80s. You know how many of your favorite celebrities would be out here with some wild ass shit? Imagine Bobby Brown was on Instagram the whole time. Please, imagine if you could just record Bobby Brown.
We just have so much more access. Everything's like anything that's happening can be happening live. Like,
and for every asshole that was sitting there recording it and not helping the freaking situation, bravo to you. Always.
Yeah.
Y'all always got time to record some shit, but y'all never got time to be actual helpful in a situation. You'd rather the clout of knowing that you recorded somebody. How about the clout of saving somebody's fucking life?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yo, I cannot stand people, yo. Like, honestly, I'm so irritated even talking about stuff like this because that shit is so dumb to me. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. Stop recording shit. Be helpful. Come back and tell the story after. Yo, I had to just save so-and-so life. Thank you. I'm so happy that this girl, I saw her on the floor passing out. I was able to go get her some water, calm her down, do that.
Yeah.
Stop freaking picking up the damn phone and
why?
recording.
Because if it's not recorded,
it never happened. Her death never happened if I didn't record it.
Right.
Her
she probably died because you didn't help her.
Exactly. Maybe you cooling her down and doing something helpful in that moment could have helped the situation.
Right.
Ugh.
Now we're all hot. I feel like my blood pressure went up.
I know. I'm so irritated.
It is irritating, but that was a lot of 2 cents today. That is a lot of 2 cents today.
We did good.
Did we say that? Unplanned episode?
Unplanned episode.
This was an unplanned episode. I got home at 11 o'clock last night. Let's freaking Uber.
And no, because she had to take an Uber the other day, and they tried to charge him $50 from here to 10 minutes. He's like, absolutely not.
I paid $110 for my Lyft.
How was hot, yo? You couldn't pay
$110. This is why you need a significant other to pick you up from the airport. That's why I'm like, please, I need a boo-boo because
This is so annoying is that you should have just called me. I was in LA all night last night.
I didn't know what to do. I'm like, my phone was on 6%.
They had a promo thing. I was in LA till at least 11:30 last night.
I'm like, I don't know who to call. I don't know what to do. My phone's on 6%.
I'm mad at myself for not even thinking.
I mean, I don't know. Whatever. You probably thought I had some boo picking me up, but I didn't. They didn't come in handy at that time when I needed them the most. One of them showed up differently, but not physically.
Okay.
Financially.
As you should.
It was still $110.
I love the random cash apps. Thank you.
Shut up. Means the world. Half heart because I don't have the other hand available.
Damn, them topics got me hot this week, man.
Right?
I hate talking all things COVID.
That flowed.
I hate it did. I hate talking all things politics, but it's just almost like, this is it.
I'm done. I'm fed up. And I just feel like there's no real solution. Like, what do I do as me, myself? Besides living in my truth and doing what I do, but
keep going
that's where we're gonna end it.
Oh, next week I'm gonna get into. I didn't even tell you. I started training again this week.
I'm just scratching my eye because
she already know how I feel about training. But that's gonna be a whole nother topic. Let us know if you want us to get into our body conscious, because I've been real sensitive. I'm trying to be sensitive to people's feelings and emotions. I'm not really trying to pass judgment on anybody's lifestyle choices, and that's the same thing with this episode. Like, whatever you try, remember, whatever you want to do you, boo. We don't hurt. This is my 2 cents. It's my 2 cents. But I'm Brittany.
I'm Zuleyma.
And we're done with this episode. We got shit to do.
Yeah, we do.
Alright, bye y'all.
The return of Machiavelli, like I'm speaking the pot.